reaching the low 20s, maybe 23 or 24, and it stays similar through the rest of the week with further rain at times too. See you later.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Ben Leo. Tonight.
Hey! Right. Well, that is disgusting.
Ah, lovely. Aggressive, organised gangs of Romanians are scamming and spitting at tourists and locals on the streets of London. The Met Police are fully aware, so why is nobody stopping them? Also,
responded with 5 days of strike action, which, as far as I'm concerned, is both unreasonable and unnecessary.
Junior doctors, some earning six-figure salaries, of course they are, well, they intend to cost the country £13 million each and every day of their latest strike action. Are they holding Britain to ransom? Plus, almost two-thirds of UK workers admit to drinking due to job pressures. But why is the workplace driving Brits to alcohol? And
I would love reconciliation with my family.
I'll be joined by the journalist whose world exclusive revealed this morning a secret summit between the camps of King Charles and his son Prince Harry. Is reconciliation finally on the cards. Also, a Muslim who called for his community to boycott police and accused them of scapegoating Islam in the grooming gang scandal will receive, wait for it, an MBE for services to integration. Make it make sense. Tonight I'll be joined by our familiar Sunday night panel, the broadcaster Will Kingston, political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. And who's letting their notoriously scruffy hair down in Italian nightclubs? A big show coming up, including the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, hot off the press. That's after your latest news headlines with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good evening, I'm Lewis Mackenzie and here are your latest GB News headlines. A small plane has crashed shortly after takeoff at Southend Airport. In a statement, Essex police say they remain on the scene of a serious incident where they were alerted to reports of a collision involving one 12-metre plane. Images posted on social media show a plume of fire and black smoke coming from the crash site at the Essex Airport. Police remain on the scene alongside fire and ambulance services. More than 1,400 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel since Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron signed the Migrant Returns Agreement. This comes only days after the PM hailed the agreement with Paris as a historic deal, allowing for a partial return of small boat migrants arriving in the UK. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander says 12,000 migrants have been stopped since Labour came to power.
The way we're going to solve this problem is by working with the French authorities. This is a pilot scheme. We're keen to see the scheme ramp up if it's successful. We're also working with the French authorities on making sure that they can take action in the shallow waters, in the French waters off the coast of France, to be able to stop small boats from reaching our shores in the first place. We have, by working with France, prevented about 12,000 channel crossings since we came to power, but there's more to do.
Meanwhile, the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, says that the deal is nothing more than a gimmick.
Only 6% of illegal immigrants crossing the Channel will get sent back to France. The other 94% will get to stay in the UK. And obviously, having 94% of illegal immigrants staying in the UK will not act as any deterrent at all. It's another gimmick, just like Keir Starmer's Smash the Gang gimmick a year or so ago, which you'll notice he never mentions anymore, because so far this year we've seen record ever numbers of illegal immigrants crossing the English Channel, the highest number in history so far this year. And I'm afraid this so-called deal, this gimmick last week, is going to make no difference to that whatsoever.
And finally, the world #1 Yannick Sinner has won the Wimbledon men's single title for the first time by beating defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. The Italian won the match in 4 sets to prevent the Spaniard from winning his 3rd Wimbledon final in a row. They played in front of a crowd which included the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children, George and Charlotte. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie. More from me in an hour's time.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello, good evening to you. There are lots of people in this country who, I argue, should be top of the deportation list, including this bunch of scammers and thugs I'm about to show you now. Be careful if you ever cross a bridge in London and come across this.
5 minutes of unedited scammers.
Seriously? They're seriously on this bridge as well.
So, if you're not familiar with the scam, it's called the cup and ball game, or shell game, and the gangs behind it are mostly Roma gypsies, the same people who frequently erect tent cities across London. Tourists are told to follow the ball under moving cups and tricked into playing the game by watching gang members pretending to play with their colleagues and winning big money. Met Police reports on the scam say it involves many people travelling Europe-wide in organised crime fashion. They say offenders are overwhelmingly Romanian nationals and they're split into teams who conduct the games together each time. They consist of the gambler, who operates the games, lookouts, stooges who pretend to win big money and trick tourists, and pickpockets as well. They're usually professional groups who travel across Europe as a team. And if you dare film them in public, like you're allowed to do, by the way, you'll be met with this.
No picture, brother. Hey, no picture. Delete the video. No. Delete. No. Why not? Because I don't want to. Huh? I don't want to take video with me. We're not video. Huh? I want video. With me? No, with that. No. Sorry? No video. Hey! Hey! That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
Why film me?
Why are you spitting? Yes. Why?
Where pussy?
Well, it wasn't caught on camera there, but the lad filming their scam was spat at, which for me is the lowest of the low. I'd rather be punched in the jaw than be gobbed on. And unfortunately for the guy filming, a guy on TikTok with the account London Scammers, he was spat at again, and this time it was all caught on camera.
Go. Hey! Hey! Right. Well, that is disgusting.
It's just vile, rotten behaviour. And could you imagine British people going to, I don't know, Bucharest or Sofia and spitting on the native population there? The levels of disrespect are off the scale. Well, it got even worse.
Whoa!
No pictures. Mister, no picture, please.
I'm taking a video, not pictures. Wait, you don't understand? Wait, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
So, spat at for a second time, a British man in his own capital city being gobbed on and then mocked afterwards by gangs of scammers. My oh my, how London has fallen. Shockingly, it wasn't the end of the drama because these people frequently operate all across Westminster Bridge and indeed other London bridges in their bid to fleece tourists.
Do you mind? Can you not touch me?
Go, bro.
What? What? Whoa! Whoa! Why are you hitting me? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Apologies for the colourful language there, but the Trump administration has taken great delight in promoting mass deportations in America. The official White House account is tweeting almost daily about the number of people it's kicked out of the country who shouldn't have been there in the first place, but who went on to commit criminal acts and drag the nation down. I argue it's time we got tough too. Mass deportations now. Let's get the thoughts of my panel, broadcaster Will Kingston, the political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. Good evening, panel. Chloe, I'll start with you, ladies first, as always. Well, I mean, your thoughts and reactions to that shocking footage. I argue again, I'd rather be punched and beaten than spat on. I think it's the lowest of the low. But do we have a problem with the disrespect of Britain?
Yeah, I mean, I literally just on the way into the studio, I went into Sainsbury's to buy something and some guy was shoplifting and then spat on the lady that was trying to stop him from stealing the stuff. Yeah, just on the way in here just now.
Tonight? Unbelievable.
Yeah, and the guy wasn't even stealing that much stuff. He just had like 10 quid worth of stuff, but thought, I'm just going to get my snacks for the evening and I don't need to pay because there is no policing. There are no consequences for this stuff. I walk across Westminster Bridge fairly frequently and you would think it's a nice place to go, beautiful view with the Palace of Westminster is all tucked away or I'm hanging onto it really tightly, just trying to weave through all of the scammers. You've got people trying to shove roses in your faces and then, you know, they shove them in your hands and then try and make you pay for them. It's just an absolute nightmare, that bridge.
So, just to clarify, sorry, I'm really shocked at what you just said. You were in Sainsbury's tonight, somebody was shoplifting, they were confronted by a Sainsbury's worker, a female, and they spat at her.
Yes.
What did the person look like?
Well, I think he was English,
right.
But he's just, you know, wearing hoodie, trackies, smelly, not put together, probably hasn't got a job, or even if he's got one, just can't be bothered to pay for anything. It was, you know, an entitled young person is the impression
Disgusting.
I got.
Absolutely vile behaviour. Will, your take on all this?
Ben, what are they doing here? What are they doing here? The thing is, you've said mass deportations now. I agree with you, but it has to go further than that. Everyone knows, and they've known anecdotally for a long period of time, that people of particular ethnicities and from particular backgrounds disproportionately commit more crimes than others. Fortunately, even this government is now getting to the point where they're going to release more data to actually put some meat on the bone there. We know if you're from Romania, you're disproportionately more likely to commit crime. Same with Albania, same with every African country, same with pretty much every country that isn't part of the Anglosphere, which is culturally compatible with the UK. Everyone knows this, but no one's willing to say the uncomfortable thing is we need to get discriminatory in our immigration policy to say that we should have less people, in fact, no people from these countries. If Eritreans are 20 times more likely to commit sexual offences than non-Eritreans, why should a single Eritrean be in this country? It is not, on balance, a risk which is worth taking. These people shouldn't be here. They should not be here, and they should not be allowed in as a result of the immigration policy that we currently have.
But Bill, I guess some would say you can't tar a whole population with just a bunch of wrong-uns.
No, you can't, and what Will said is not true. Go online and there is no evidence, discernible evidence, of the disparity in committing crime between people of different nationalities. However, I welcome the fact that the Home Office is going to release that by the end of the year. But look, what was depicted there is disgusting. There's no other word for it. And there is a problem with Romanian scammers. It's organised crime, you know, it includes online dating, tax fraud, financial fraud and cyber crimes. You need public awareness, you need the police to intervene, and you need joint operations. And actually, there was a joint operation between the British police and the Romanians last Thursday, and between Romania and the UK, 14 people were arrested. We need more of that.
Ben, I need a right of reply there. The Centre for Immigration Studies has done a lot of work now around crime figures. We know that people from Africa, from parts of the Middle East, from countries which aren't culturally compatible are more likely to commit crimes. I think from Eritrea, top of my head, it's about 20 times more likely to commit sexual offences.
I think Somalians 8.8
times. But Bill, like, even if you don't believe the facts, are you trying to gaslight people and suggesting that someone, even if you're saying, if you don't agree with those numbers, are you honestly trying to tell me that someone from a third world country like Eritrea is going to be, on balance, the same level of probability to commit a sexual offence than someone from New Zealand or Australia?
No,
are you honestly trying to tell me that?
Look, I mean, one, I'd urge your viewers to go online and actually look at the research evidence, and there is not the research evidence to back up what you're saying. But
sorry, Bill, can I? But before we move on to that point, sorry to interject. So there was a story in the Telegraph from 10th of March this year. Foreigners are convicted of up to a quarter of sex crimes, and that's according to data from the Ministry of Justice. They are more likely than Brits, many nationalities, sexual crimes, drug crimes, thefts, violence, to commit those crimes more than native British populations. Two nationalities, Afghans and Eritreans, were more than 20 times more likely to account for sexual offence convictions than British citizens. That's according to MOJ data.
There are different categories of crime and you get different figures. But it is undoubtedly the case that we need tougher action. And you said, Will, that, you know, the police ought to be responding to this. And yes, they should. And there is evidence that that is happening, but we need more of it.
Bill, the point is... Sorry, Chloe, you go.
Well, I mean, a few things to pick up on there. So, first of all, policing absolutely needs to step up. We've spoken about mass deportations. They need to be nicked first before...
Well, even Nigel Farage is not in favour of mass deportations.
But when it just comes... Just going back to your point about the data, you know, we can argue about which stat is the most reliable and whatnot, but just use your common sense. If people come here from countries where they maybe have backwards views about women, we know there are plenty of countries where they'll marry off, you know, young little girls and they don't really know what consent is, and then, you know, there are countries that people come from third world countries where there's not much governance and the place being run by gangs and people being up to criminality is just the norm. How can you possibly expect that there's going to be the same probability of them committing a crime as a normal Brit?
And already the government uses risk factors and is introducing risk factors when awarding or granting visas. And I think that should happen.
So how are those people that we just saw in that clip here? Oh, really? Genuinely, that's a genuine question. How are they...
Well, they are the same group... I know this because I've been down there. The same group of people who erect these tent cities in Park Lane all across London, and they go around... I'll tell you what they do. They go down Oxford Street nicking meat and different things to sell, and they live in Park Lane in tents. They're the same people.
For example,
they
were they pre-Brexit and they came here via the EU freedom of movement? Are they illegal migrants? I genuinely want to know how these lowlifes here. I'm one of only 5% of immigrants in this country who are on a skilled worker visa. As you know, I contribute to the economy. 95% aren't. I really want to know how they're here.
There are a lot of Romanians that came here on freedom of movement.
Right.
Yeah, and then got the right to remain after Brexit, as did all former EU.
Can we talk about this mass deportation thing? For any viewers who are watching now, can somebody explain what mass deportations means? It's for illegals, right? Illegal migrants.
Well, it depends what you're talking about. So, I mean, first of all, I think we should be deporting foreign criminals from our prisons, not just illegal migrants, right? Those are often people who have come here legally. We've got a huge prisons crisis. One, you might call it a mass deportation, would say every foreign offender in prison, you're out, off you go. That's 12,000 more spaces. We desperately need them. And then illegal migration, you might say anyone that arrives here from this point forward needs to be kicked out of the country, or you might say people who are already here who have come illegally, we're going to get rid of all of you as well.
And I want to pick up on something that Bill said, where he said not even Nigel Farage is for mass deportations. True, and that's a real problem. I actually think that there is a world in which the Conservatives could move to the right of reform on immigration, because Farage is terrified of being labelled as a racist, and I think that's a genuine opportunity for the Conservatives.
Has he not pivoted on mass deportations? I know that those comments came off the back of the Steve Edgington interview from GB News, but I think Zia Youssef a month ago, the Reform chairman, said that we'll deport all illegal migrants. Reform.
Well, it's all over the place. But look, you know, to some extent, this is semantics. You know, I believe that everyone who doesn't have a legal right to be here should be deported, and the government's increasing deportations. But when people politically talking about mass deportations, I think they're misleading people, because they create the impression that you can just, you know, suddenly round all these people up and send them away. Well, it's not credible. It's not realistic.
The Trump administration is. I touched on it in the introduction there. The White House is tweeting daily pictures of foreign criminals, people who shouldn't be there in the first place. They're saying this guy committed a sex crime. We've just sent him on a plane back to El Salvador or whatever. They are tweeting daily. They're on it.
I mean, so long as Labour decides to stay a member of the ECHR, we won't be able to do any kind of, if you call it, mass deportations like the US is doing, unless someone's got the backbone, the tenacity to leave the ECHR. There's no way that we...
Well, I don't think Labour would be in favour of it anyway, would they?
No, they wouldn't, but let's say theoretically they wanted to. But I think even if we do leave the ECHR, of course there will be hurdles to this. So, you know, I do think that Reform need to be careful not to give people the false impression that the day that they get into power, suddenly day one, everyone's going to be kicked out of the country. I'm not sure it's going to be quite as easy as in the US. There are going to be a lot of legal battles, and they know that, and so they've got a big team of lawyers, but take time.
Messaging is still important. If you have a strong sense of conviction and you communicate that clearly, it means it's less likely that more people will come in the future. Same with the illegal boats crisis. So that is why they need to speak tough on this.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to top the show with this tonight is because just seeing, you know, it personified in my mind the state we're in at the moment, where you have a British guy who's minding his own business, walking over Westminster Bridge, outside the Houses of Parliament, yards from Scotland Yard, and he's getting spat on by Roma gypsies, and they're mocking him and laughing him and pointing and bullying him and goading him on the bridge. I just thought, you know...
Spot on.
It just personifies everything that's wrong with Britain at the moment.
Spot on.
Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. There's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date in the Great British Giveaway, £54,321. Here's all the details you need to win.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14, PO Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Very good luck to you. Up next, junior doctors, some earning six-figure salaries, of course, are due to cost Britain £13 million each and every day of their latest round of strikes. Are they holding the country to ransom? We'll debate that next in tonight's Head to Head. Don't go anywhere.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight, only on GB News. And surprise, surprise, they're at it again. Of course they are. Junior doctors, or resident doctors, as we now have to call them, have voted again to strike. And it's going to cost us a pretty penny. Analysis from the Centre for Economics and Business Research predicts that the strikes will lose the British economy £13 million a day. This comes at the same time as research showing that some of those striking over pay will be earning £100,000 a year. Well, or more, in fact. No wonder Wes Streeting is absolutely furious.
So I say to them even now, the offer to meet remains open. The need for these strikes does not exist. Work with us rather than against us, not least because resident doctors know, as well as everyone else, the NHS is hanging by a thread and they're threatening to pull it.
OK, to debate this now, I'm joined by the head of campaigns at the Taxpayers Alliance, Elliot Keck, and resident doctor Basha Mukherjee. Good evening to you both. Thank you for your company. Basha, I think the average wage for a Brit is something like £37,000, around about there. For a resident doctor, junior doctor, once they pass core training, they're on around £67,000. So double the average wage. Why are you demanding even more money from the taxpayer?
Good evening. Just wanted to just double check that I'm at the end of my training. I'm 1 month away from becoming a GP. And at the end of my training, that is the number that you're talking about, that 67 mark. That is at the end of training after years of experience. So to say that some people are on, you know, six-figure incomes of this cohort that have voted to strike, I think that's actually misrepresenting the truth, because in reality, that is nowhere near what any resident doctor is actually earning at the moment. You'd have to be really, really far into your training. You'd have to be like 9, 11 years of specialty training in order to earn anywhere close to that figure. And on top of that, you would have to be doing a lot of extra work, overtime, locum shifts in order to get that payment. So in reality, most junior doctors are nowhere near that figure at all.
OK, Elliot, your take?
I think this is a despicable strike by a group of radicalised trots that are determined to hold this country and this government to ransom. They received a 22% pay rise in the latest pay review last year. That's far, far more than anybody, not just in the private sector, but even in the public sector. Doctors are very well paid. They have a fantastic pension scheme, unparalleled anywhere in the private sector. They get their tuition fees massively subsidised, and yet, despite the fact that they got that 22% pay rise, they are still not happy. And unfortunately, a radicalised minority of doctors are going to end up leading to people dying, I'm afraid to say, as a result of trying to squeeze ever more money out of the taxpayer.
Basha, how many deaths is worth another pay rise?
No deaths, and that is why this is the whole point. We don't want to be striking. We don't want to have to go through this process again after 2 years of striking. And, you know, the message was pretty clear from the beginning that the whole time it was about pay restoration of the levels of 2008. And the net pay that would equate to would be £1 billion, which the government has already overspent triple that in order to staff these shortages during these strike periods. And, you know, you're talking about tuition fees being subsidized. I don't know what world that is, but that's not the case, definitely, for me. I was in university for 5-6 years, and I've definitely you know, got a hefty tuition fee that I'm still paying for. So the NHS is not a nice place to work in. And I'm working in GP practices now, and I still feel that there is just, I wouldn't really wish it on my enemy, really. You have to sit on bins. You don't even get to sit on chairs as a resident doctor.
Well, it's
you have
actually,
to fight for your
Basha,
computers.
It's actually sometimes not a nice place to be treated in either. And if reports are correct, Elliot, if the government caves in again to resident doctors and gives them another pay rise, there ain't no money left. So the money's going to come from the NHS budget.
Yeah, it'd be an absolute disaster. And just to pick up on the tuition fees point, I'm afraid the cost of training a doctor is actually more like £20,000-30,000, not the £9,000 that I pay for tuition fees. So in Australia, the average medical degree costs 2 to 3 times what it costs a British doctor per year. And you're absolutely right, it will come straight out of the NHS budget. And the NHS already spends about 65% of its budget on staffing. That compares to sort of 45, 40, even 35% in countries like Ireland and New Zealand, where they spend a lot more money on hospitals, on machines, on beds, etc. And that's because I'm afraid the doctors in the NHS and other staff in the NHS, every single year, they try and squeeze as much money out of the taxpayers, as much money out of the NHS as possible with these absolutely absurd pay demands. And all it means is waiting lists continue to grow, people continue to die, and nobody gets any better other than the doctors.
Basha, can I ask you?
This is the point, isn't it? This is the point, that the taxpayers are already paying so much money in training these student doctors, only for them to leave the country because they're, after graduating, the conditions of work are just so dire. And, you know, we keep talking about the fact that the pay does increase slowly when they go into training. There aren't enough training posts. So they're stuck at a level because they haven't got enough jobs. So, of course, they're going to look for better options abroad. They're going to look for better options in the private market, doing anything else but being a doctor, whether that includes, you know, doing Ubering, whatever it takes, you know. So this costs the taxpayer at the end of the day.
So,
well, how about this? How about we scrap the pension scheme that NHS doctors currently receive, move them onto a fully funded defined contribution scheme, make them pay full price for their tuition fees, full price, and then they can have a pay rise. I think that'd be a fair deal for everybody.
How about we get treated the same as what doctors were treated 15 years ago? I think that's fair.
Anybody growth for 15 years.
Anybody working
is 10% below what it was before the pandemic.
I mean, anybody. I'd say most people watching this now would say that their pay and their, just remind the viewers, Basha, of the pay increase you got last time from the government, please.
It's sorry. What was the question?
What was the pay rise last time? You just got 28%, was it?
That's correct, but that
right.
Still doesn't go down. Go to the...
Okay, nobody watching this now would have got a 28% pay rise in their life. I'd probably argue even a 2.8% pay rise in the last 15 years.
What does that actually look like in real money? That's what we have to ask.
What are you? Do you mind asking what you're earning? Sorry to keep interrupting. You don't have to divulge. Tell me to do one if you want. But do you mind me asking what you're roughly earning?
Well, you can look that up. I'm a GP trainee. I'm a GP ST3, and that information is available. If you look at what London GP trainees are earning roughly, that's about as much we're earning at the moment. And this is me at the end of my training. I'm 1 month away from becoming a qualified GP.
Around 60 grand then?
Oh, well, I don't see that in my bank account for sure.
Ben, the key thing is NHS productivity remains about 11-12% lower than it was before the pandemic. If anything, we should be talking about pay reductions for doctors until that productivity significantly increases. And yet they got a 22% pay rise last year. Imagine any other industry where workers were working 10% less effectively than they were 5 to 6 years ago. Do you think they'd be getting a pay increase?
All right, Basha, last word to you. Are we rewarding failure?
Are we rewarding failure? The question should be, how can you possibly not fail in a system in hospitals where everything else is failing? So of course the productivity is going to be low. Of course your productivity is going to be low when your computers keep crashing 3 times during a shift, which elongates your session for like an hour at the end of every single day. Of course these things add up, and of course these things weigh down on the quality of work that you can produce at the end. We're ashamed of the quality of work that we're producing at the end as well, and that's not our fault. That's down to the whole system being broken.
OK. Guys, thank you very much for a fascinating debate. Really appreciate your company. Elliot Keck, Head of Campaigns at the Taxpayers Alliance, and resident Dr Basha Mukherjee. Thank you. Have a good evening. As always, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. Lots of you getting involved in that. I'll try and read some comments later on during the show. Coming up, nearly 2/3 of UK employees are turning to drink for work-related reasons. Alcohol being used as medicine. Is this a worrying trend or just a typically British way of taking the edge off? This is Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, well, there's plenty of hot and sunny weather across Europe, but there are still some showers out there for some of us. Across Madeira, sunny spells, some outbreaks of rain. Canary Islands, a mixture of sunny spells too. Plenty of sunshine across Portugal and Spain, with some showers across the Alps. Across the Greek islands, plenty of sunshine here and feeling hot. And that continues as we go through the week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures into the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure starting to move in, so the heat wave ending. Still hot in the southeast for Monday, but many areas turning fresher. And we can see that nicely on the pressure pattern. Low pressure starting to dominate. Weather fronts moving in, bringing the risk of some heavy rain and thunderstorms in places too. This evening time, fairly quiet, though. As the bands of showers get going, we'll see some hefty downpours developing, particularly across Northern Ireland down into Wales. Some heavier showers developing across Northern England and Scotland during the early hours as well. But another very warm night to come. Temperatures widely 15 to 18 Celsius, so another fairly uncomfortable night for sleeping. And a different picture for Monday morning. Sunny spells and scattered heavy showers developing. So if we take a look at the details, we can see northern Scotland, some low cloud initially, best of the sunshine across the Highlands, drizzly across towards Aberdeenshire. But the risk of some heavy showers already pushing into southern Scotland, clearing Northern Ireland, still some for northern England as well. Bands of showers pushing across Wales, parts of England, but in between, sunny spells and temperatures on the warm side up to around 21 Celsius at 8 a.m. And then through the day, we'll see these bands of showers push north and eastwards, some thunderstorms developing. Could be quite torrential across northern England into southern Scotland come the afternoon. Some localised flooding possible here, but not everywhere will see the showers. Lots of places could stay dry, particularly across England and Wales, and fresher for all. The low 20s generally, but still towards 30 Celsius in the southeast, so still well above average for the time of year. Low pressure still dominating into Tuesday. Bands of showers, longer spells of rain pushing north and eastwards across many parts. Feeling much fresher as the winds pick up too. Temperatures generally will be around average for the time of year, reaching the low 20s, maybe 23 or 24, and it stays similar through the rest of the week with further rain at times too. See you later.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight. Now, I'm sure plenty of you at home enjoy a cold beer or glass of wine after a long day at work. However, when does that become a problem? Because a new survey by Alcohol Change UK has shown that 64% of UK workers drink alcohol for work-related reasons. And the research found that 1 in 5 workers drank to deal with the stress of deadlines, whilst 10% felt pressure to drink by their boss or colleagues. Alcohol Change UK is calling on employers to move away from after-work drinks as a team-building method. But with plenty of stress-related drinking occurring alone and at home, would this really make much difference? Well, I'm joined now by the founder of Sober Socials, Michael Sargood. Michael, good evening. I take it you don't drink, you're sober, are you?
I am now. In my heyday, I drank my fair share and then some, but haven't drunk for the last 4 years now, so it has changed the socialising somewhat.
Let me just clarify your situation and your background. Did you have a problem drinking, or did you just decide that it wasn't doing much for you?
Yeah, I did. I was drinking far too much. It crept up. It used to be weekends, then Thursday became the new Friday, and then for long it was only Monday that I wasn't drinking. That was affecting work. Work was affecting the drinking, and it all just spiraled out of control until I realised I probably just got to call it a day. I'm not very good at moderating.
And what did you do for work? And tell us about your routine. So you'd go to work, you'd go home. What would you drink? How many would you drink? What would you be doing? Would you be alone when you were drinking?
Well, the routine changed over the years, but I worked mainly in public relations, spin doctoring for local authorities and government eventually.
Bet you're busy.
Yeah, and there were often drinks on a Friday after work. Sometimes they were extended to Thursday, but I would always go back and stop by the off license to buy some more. And I found when I was drinking Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, I was needing to drink the other days to feel okay. The depression was beginning to build up, the stress was building up. I was getting stressed from work, I was relieving the stress by drinking, and then you get this residual stress and depression from alcohol withdrawal. So I was then drinking to stop that as well, and it was just it was a perpetual cycle. It all fed itself. I drank to stop being depressed, and I was depressed, so I drank. So I found it really difficult to get out of, and in the end I just had to call it a day completely.
Yeah, bit of a doom loop. Are you surprised at this research showing that 1 in 5 workers are drinking to deal with the stress of their job?
I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not really. I think drinking is something that people aren't necessarily always honest about when you talk to them. But when I stopped drinking, I had other colleagues come to me and ask, how did I do it? They've been having similar problems, but that would always be done in secret. And I think that the research you mentioned by Alcohol Change UK, it also mentions how people are more confident talking to their employer about mental health than they are about alcohol. And I think that's because the way they're viewed. I think now it's acceptable to talk about mental health. It's seen as a medical, as a health issue, whereas alcohol and/or addiction is seen still as a moral failure. And something that you should be chastised about. So there isn't that openness, especially in the workplace, when it comes to talking about alcohol. Yet it is often thrust upon employees where, you have your drinks on a Friday. I remember I've been in workplaces where they'd send me down to the off licence at 3 o'clock on a Friday to get the booze for the rest of the working day, and then you go to the pub afterwards. And that was seen as your reward, and alcohol often is seen as a reward for good work. And it can amplify good times. I mean, it's a powerful mind-altering drug, and it's very versatile, and it's legal, and you're encouraged to take it recreationally. So it is easy for things to get out of balance.
Do you think, last question to you before I let you go, Michael, do you think alcohol, if it was discovered today and it just come on the scene, do you think it would be legalised? Or allowed to stay legal, rather?
I don't think it'd be legal, no. I think the reason alcohol is legal is because it's been with us so long and is such a large part of our culture. But the fact that it is legal sends out the message to people that it's safe and you can just have fun with it. But that's not necessarily the case. It's legal because of historical and cultural reasons.
OK, and you're doing well now, Michael, are you? I mean, you look pretty well and healthy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying life. It's taken me some time to actually work out how to have fun without booze, but I think I finally cracked it.
Good man. Michael, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for your contributions. Really appreciate it, and best of luck to you. Let's get thoughts of my panel now. Will, Chloe, Bill. Right, who's the biggest boozer here? No one wants to admit. Certainly not me.
I'm teetotal.
Yeah, well, OK, well, I'm beating Chloe then. I'm probably beating Bill. Ben, number one, never trust a poll where the people who are running the poll have a vested interest in its outcome. But more than that, I'm very happy to hear any story that says that people are boozing more in this country, not less. You hear youngsters today, Gen Z, are drinking less, which is depressing and sad, and it's contributing to the loneliness epidemic. Pubs are under stress in this country. This country was made great by booze, and I'm actually very worried that people are drinking less. So look, probably, there are some concerns around, the overconsumption of alcohol, but generally, carry on.
I think it's one pub a day closing, and pubs in the Telegraph yesterday could be extinct in 20 years. So, is it just the same with anything, Bill? It's just moderation. Some people go to excess, don't they? Why do we have to penalise everybody?
I didn't answer your question.
How much do you drink?
More than my doctor recommends.
Right. And what do you drink?
Red wine.
Red wine.
That's my tipple. But what was interesting about that piece was I actually think the prevalence of alcohol at work is dramatically lower than when I was working in my 20s and 30s. There's been a huge cultural shift. However, when you look at medical surveys, when you look at the research, we are all drinking too much. And, there are long-term health consequences and there's long-term societal consequences as well.
That's the thing, is I think with alcohol, you don't really get the negative health effects, aside from a bit of a hangover, until later in life. Whereas if someone is, a crackhead, you can see it on them so clearly, it massively affects their life in the short term. But in terms of the long-term consequences, there are studies that have been done that it puts it right up there with heroin and cocaine and...
Are you teetotal?
I am, yes.
You don't drink at all?
I don't drink at all. And I don't have a problem with people drinking in that I can see the economic benefit. It keeps the pubs open. I think pubs are a great space. When I was at university, the only way you could run events is by selling alcohol in order to fund it and whatnot. But I do think that it's a bit rich people saying, oh, young people need to drink more.
Yeah, well, times are changing, aren't they? gbnews.com/your say. Let us know what you think about that. Coming up next, a very important guest. Should we really be giving an MBE to a man who led a Muslim boycott of police after he accused them of scapegoating Muslims in the grooming gang scandal? Or is it just a slap in the face to the many thousands of victims and indeed their family members, one of which who joins me next? Back in a tick.
Welcome back to
to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight on GB News. A campaigner in Rotherham will receive an MBE for political services to integration, cohesion and to British society, despite him leading a Muslim police boycott in the wake of the grooming gang scandal. Mobeen Hussain, there he is, called on Muslims to sever ties with South Yorkshire Police back in October 2015, a year after the force's failure to investigate thousands of allegations of grooming was revealed. His campaign group warned locals any Muslim groups or institutions in Rotherham that do not adhere to this policy of disengagement will also be boycotted by the Muslim community. Hussain accused South Yorkshire Police of allowing Muslims to become scapegoats and also of allowing attacks from far-right groups. He now runs the all-party parliamentary group on British Muslims, and I understand he holds a House of Commons pass sponsored by Naz Shah on your screens now, if you watch on telly, the MP for Bradford West. Well, joining me now is the father of a grooming gang victim, Marlon West. Marlon, good evening. Thank you for your company and your contributions to this. What do you make of the fact, first of all, that this guy, Mobeen Hussain, has been given an MBE for his work on societal cohesion?
Good morning, Ben. Good afternoon. Good evening, Ben, in fact. When I don't think I'm going to be shocked, something comes along that shocks me even further. This is absolutely appalling. I'm so upset about it. It's just offensive to all the campaigners, all the survivors. And it's not just about, I've been doing research on this guy today. It's not just about boycotting Rotherham. He's made negative comments about the Manchester Arena bombing, blaming the British government for that. he's made negative comments about Sarah Champion, saying that she has an issue with Pakistani grooming gangs, and he's given her an MBA. Where's the survivors? Where's the campaigners? I don't know one campaigner yet that has got an MBA. It's appalling.
Yeah, such a good point. Yeah, it's. Does it fill you with confidence, Marlon, that when we've got this national inquiry coming up, the details of which will possibly coming in a few weeks, does it fill you with much confidence that the establishment can give a guy like this an MBE, and yet at the same time it's the same establishment which is meant to be finally giving some sort of sense of justice to you and Scarlett, your daughter, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. I've said this before on interviews. I have no confidence. I welcome the inquiry, but there's a lot more questions there. When things like this come up, no, it doesn't give me any confidence at all. It's appalling, and there should be an investigation into why he's been given this MBE. I'll be interested to know who nominated him.
Well, I was reading the story earlier. It's not known who nominated him, but I think I think anybody can nominate somebody for an honours or a gong, and it's down to the groups who decide it to whether to take note of it or not. But it's not revealed who nominated him. I mean, who would nominate him? Any ideas who might nominate this guy?
If he had to put money on it, I'd say it's a Labour MP.
Naz Shah. I mean, he's got a House of Commons pass sponsored by Naz Shah. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Miss Shah?
Not very much, if I'm honest. It's difficult to say. What I've seen, not very positive, especially around the grooming.
OK. I'm going to open up the floor to my panel now, if you don't mind. Anybody want to speak to Marlon, ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Flo?
So this man, he is part of the same all-party parliamentary group in Westminster that has been helping come up with the Islamophobia definition. Are you worried, Marlon, given what we've just revealed about this man, that he is going to push for a definition of Islamophobia that stops people from talking about the grooming gangs, makes them scared they're going to be arrested if they do so?
Yeah. So like I said, I have been doing a lot of research today, and he will definitely try and possibly, looking at his pattern, he blames the government. So he'll definitely try and brush it under the carpet, which is concerning. My concern is about grooming and an inquiry, and we need to be transparent around that.
Anybody else, Bill?
Well, it's not a question, it's a comment. And often cock-up is more persuasive than conspiracy. Yeah. And I know the process for getting an honour. You need, and I've been asked to write in support of people in the past, you need a number of people and organisations backing you. And what I can't get in this case is that he's got a very clear public record. People like Sarah Champion attacked him vehemently for the stance that he took. How, knowing that, what his track record was, did an honour get through?
Well, we'll try and find out. We don't know who nominated him. Lots of you on your say, watching live now, we don't know who nominated him. We'll try and find out for you, and indeed for you, Marlon. And like you said, none of you lot have been given honours or gongs. What about Maggie Oliver and so on? Yeah. Marlon, we're fast running out of time, but thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your story, and hopefully we'll catch up in the coming days and weeks. In a statement given last night, Mubin Hussain said, "My record in countering extremism and terrorism from the age of 14, which has included speaking out unequivocally against grooming gangs, including those of Pakistani origin, leading the first demonstration against such crime and working to break barriers between interfaith communities, speaks for itself. I have a good track record, and I was honoured to be offered an MBE in the forthcoming King's Birthday Awards." More coming up in the next few minutes, including the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. Back in a sec.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure starting to move in, so the heat wave ending. Still hot in the southeast for Monday, but many areas turning fresher. And we can see that nicely on the pressure pattern. Low pressure starting to dominate. Weather fronts moving in, bringing the risk of some heavy rain and thunderstorms in places too. This evening time, fairly quiet, though as the bands of showers get going, we'll see some hefty downpours developing, particularly across Northern Ireland down into Wales. Some heavier showers developing across Northern England and Scotland during the early hours as well. But another very warm night to come. Temperatures widely 15 to 18 Celsius, so another fairly uncomfortable night for sleeping. And a different picture for Monday morning. Sunny spells and scattered heavy showers developing. So if we take a look at the details, we can see northern Scotland, some low cloud initially, best of the sunshine across the Highlands, drizzly across towards Aberdeenshire, but the risk of some heavy showers already pushing into southern Scotland, clearing Northern Ireland, still some for northern England as well. Bands of showers pushing across Wales, parts of England, but in between, sunny spells and temperatures on the warm side up to around 21 Celsius at 8 a.m. And then through the day, we'll see these bands of showers push north and eastwards, some thunderstorms developing. Could be quite torrential across northern England into southern Scotland come the afternoon. Some localised flooding possible here, but not everywhere we'll see the showers. Lots of places could stay dry, particularly across England and Wales, and fresher for all. The low 20s generally, but still towards 30 Celsius in the southeast, so still well above average for the time of year. Low pressure still dominating into Tuesday. Bands of showers, longer spells of rain pushing north and eastwards across many parts. Feeling much fresher as the winds pick up too. Temperatures generally will be around average for the time of year, reaching the low 20s, maybe 23 or 24, and it stays similar through the rest of the week with further rain at times too. See you later.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m, I'm Ben Leo, and breaking tonight, a plague on all their houses. On the front page of the Metro, a damning verdict on how the lack of trust Britons have in their politicians. Are you surprised? Plus,
I would love reconciliation with my family.
But would his father, the King? We'll be joined by the journalist whose world exclusive revealed a secret summit between the camps of King Charles and Prince Harry. Is a reconciliation finally on the cards? Also, that's as the Prince and Princess of Wales, there they are on your screens. Well, they put on a glamorous display today at the men's Wimbledon final. And talking of boozing, who's letting their notoriously scruffy hair down in Italian nightclubs? The first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages coming right up. That's after your news headlines with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good evening, I'm Lewis Mackenzie and here are your latest GB News headlines. A small plane has crashed shortly after takeoff at Southend Airport. In a statement, Essex police say they remain on the scene of a serious incident where they were alerted to reports of a collision involving one 12-metre plane. Images posted on social media show a plume of fire and black smoke coming from the crash site at the Essex Airport. Police remain on the scene alongside fire and ambulance services. More than 1,400 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel since Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron signed the Migrant Returns Agreement. This comes only days after the PM hailed the agreement with Paris as a historic deal, allowing for a partial return of small boat migrants arriving in the UK. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander says 12,000 migrants have been stopped since Labour came to power.
The way we're going to solve this problem is by working with the French authorities. This is a pilot scheme. We're keen to see the scheme ramp up if it's successful. We're also working with the French authorities on making sure that they can take action in the shallow waters, in the French waters off the coast of France, to be able to stop small boats from reaching our shores in the first place. We have, by working with France, prevented about 12,000 channel crossings since we came to power, but there's more to do.
Meanwhile, the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, says that the deal is nothing more than a gimmick.
Only 6% of illegal immigrants crossing the Channel will get sent back to France. The other 94% will get to stay in the UK. And obviously, having 94% of illegal immigrants staying in the UK will not act as any deterrent at all. It's another gimmick, just like Keir Starmer's Smash the Gang gimmick a year or so ago, which you'll notice he never mentions anymore, because so far this year we've seen record ever numbers of illegal immigrants crossing the English Channel, the highest number in history so far this year. And I'm afraid this so-called deal, this gimmick last week, is going to make no difference to that whatsoever.
And finally, the world number one Jannik Sinner has won the Wimbledon men's single title for the first time by beating defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. The Italian won the match in 4 sets to prevent the Spaniard from winning his 3rd Wimbledon final in a row. They played in front of a crowd which included the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children, George and Charlotte. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie. More from me in an hour's time.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. The first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages have just dropped, and let's start with The Sun, who follow today's Mail on Sunday. Time to clear the air, Papa. Harry truce-bid, but not with William. So Prince Harry is ready to talk to his father and talk about reconciliation. This comes, as I said, from the Mail on Sunday today. The author of the Mail on Sunday story, Charlotte Griffiths, the paper's editor-at-large, will be with me live this hour to talk about this story and other royal scoops. The Independent: prisoners on cruel indefinite jail terms are failed by the state. Former Justice Secretary Alex Chalk says imprisonment for public protection sentences, IPPs, are overbearing and unfair. That's a bit of a campaign there from The Independent. And the Metro, a decent front page. Politicians, we don't trust any of you. This is a new poll showing 90% of Brits have little or no faith in the political class, and a shocking 60% said they would not trust Keir Starmer, Kemi Badenoch or Nigel Farage to even watch their bags. I'm joined now by my panel, Will Kingston, Chloe Dobbs and Bill Rammell. I guess, Bill, being the former minister on the panel, we'll start with you. Did you ever feel like you were trusted, really, by the public?
Well, do you know, and actually talking to colleagues in the House of Commons, there was almost a cross-party agreement that when the public talked about politicians as a class, they were extremely negative. And yet when they talked about their own constituency MP, there was a very different view. So I think some of it is cutting through that. But I think, and, you know, it saddens me that trust is such an issue with politicians across the board. And I think particularly for Farage and reform, you know, and I'm very clear in my view of him, but, you know, glib, simplistic slogans which seem to change by the week.
What, like smash the gangs and that kind of thing?
Yeah, and people have been arrested.
Fix the foundations.
And people have been arrested.
Go for growth.
But, you know, I think Farage has got a problem coming down the line in terms of credibility. I think he's very successful at manufacturing authenticity, but actually saying deliverable commitments that are properly funded and delivering on them, I think the record is much worse.
Will?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. In some respects, what else is new? People have always hated politicians. No offence, Bill. But I do have some sympathy for what Bill's saying about reform, and I think there is a risk there.
We've got two reform haters on the panel here.
Well, no.
You get accused of being Reform TV, but let me tell you tonight.
I disagree. Why? Because I don't think the policy thing is actually an issue with reform. I think people are so fed up with the major parties that they're willing to take a punt almost regardless of policy, with the exception of immigration. But the other thing that I would say is there has been moments in the last couple of months where there has been cause for concern, whether it is basically Farage moving to the centre, some people even saying moving to the left, particularly on immigration, but again, around fears of being considered a racist. The consideration that maybe he is not up to dealing with the debt issues this country is facing, which you would expect of a strong right-wing political party. So I think there is concern there in a way that there possibly and ironically isn't for the Uni Party, because people have already given up on them, whereas hopefully Farage would hope that they haven't given up on reform just yet.
You said there that reform had gone left on particularly maybe immigration. What particularly are you talking about?
So the other day, Farage came out and said that he expects at least Robert Jenrick, who I think will be the leader of the Conservatives going into the next election, will be to the right of reform by 2029. So it's not like he's hiding it. I think he's actually expecting the Conservatives to outflank them on immigration. And I think that represents a real opportunity. And I think it is because Farage is so incredibly scared of having that racist label that he's moving rapidly to the centre, and particularly as well on the issue of Islam too.
Well, do you not think, Chloe, I'll bring you in just a sec, do you not think, Will, just on Farage and reform, that they need to play the game? They can't just come out and you know, put off swathes of voters who maybe don't watch the news, aren't that politically engaged, maybe think that being associated with this person or this policy is really toxic. They need to play the game. They need to get into government, and then maybe they could turn the screw a little bit.
Ben, this is the million-dollar question that will define UK politics over the next 4 years. Are they playing the game very tactically and intelligently? And some people will say they are. Are they actually ideologically now just another member of the Uni Party? And the answer is no one knows at this stage. We will see. But I think you are right. They do need to be clever about it.
But there's also massive overhype. Ben, when you talk about, you know, Farage being the next government, he's at 27% in the opinion polls. Last one I saw was just 1%
Same where Keir Starmer is,
1% ahead of the Labour Party. Not where I want the Labour Party to be. But, you know, we're in mid-term. Go back to the 1980s when the then SDP was at 51% in the opinion polls and lost by a landslide 2 years later. The idea that he's a shoo-in for number 10 is just nonsense.
We've still got 4 years, so it is a long time. And a week is a long time in politics, let alone 4 years. And Nigel Farage needs to keep on, keeping people interested in the party. I think they've got a long time to really think about their policies and how they're going to achieve them. We're starting to see more detail on their policies come out, like, for example, the Britannia card, their policy on nom-doms. And I think that's good they're starting to put that detail out. But I do think that they need to be careful not to just promise the world and say we're going to do X, Y and Z all on day one, kind of like the Labour Party did, and then get in and everyone says, oh, they're just like the Uni Party.
I don't quite understand this criticism of reform. I get the concern, but when you've got, they are, if you are a right of centre or a right-winger with conservative policies which you think the Tories didn't deliver, there is no other option, surely. So you're going to continue the Uni Party in your spite of reform because you've got a hunch maybe that you don't trust them.
Yeah, it drives me nuts that you've got people say, oh, reform said one thing that I'm not that sure of, so I'm going to go vote for UKIP instead now. I'm sorry, they're dead. Stop wasting your time, people.
I don't think people are saying that necessarily.
I see it on Twitter.
I don't think it's a good argument to say, well, just because we don't have any better options, we shouldn't hold reform to account. But
it's the truth, though, right? Agree with it?
Yeah, of course I agree that at the moment, if there was an election tomorrow, I would vote for reform.
Right.
At the same time, if reform does something which is concerning, or if we think that ideologically they may be losing their direction, just because they're the only option at the moment doesn't mean you shouldn't call them out for that.
But you know what? Wider than reform, the issue around trust, and I'm probably going to get howls of rage at the screen from people at home now, the public bear some responsibility for where we are. They do. People consistently wanting Scandinavian-style public services at US levels of taxation, and that's the deceit that has gone on for generations. That leads to the kind of horse trading that we get into today.
Well, is that not because the NHS is a cult and it's been lauded by Labour especially as some sort of untouchable thing where, nobody else can do it better and you just shove all the money in the world into it and promises we must protect the NHS when in actual fact it's,
if you look at comparisons of the amount of money that we spend versus if you spend the same amount of money in other countries and other healthcare systems, and I'm not just... a lot of people draw this false dichotomy between here and the mess in the US. There are plenty of countries that are doing fantastic jobs, places like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, etc. And you see, if you took the same cancer patients we have in this country, put them in another system spending a similar amount of money, far more of them would live, like astronomical amounts. I don't have all the figures off the top of my head, but Christian Nemitz from the IEA has done some fantastic papers on this, and you realise it's not just a money issue. There is a huge efficiency problem in the NHS.
But the issue of trust is much wider than the National Health Service. It's about, people saying, I want everything and I don't want to pay for it, or someone else should pay for it. And that creates the culture of politics that we've got.
But here's the thing, Bill, it's never been easy to sell fiscal responsibility because there will always be winners and losers as part of that. It means that you need to have great politicians who go out and make the case, who are able to say, we need to spend less here. That means that some people will get relatively less benefits or less money or less freebies or whatever, but it is good for the country for this reason. There are less politicians who are capable of doing that today.
All right, let's move on to The Independent. Will, a message for you on gbnews.com/you'll say from Jay. Good evening, Jay. You've said Farage is out here playing chess and you lot on X, yeah, I'm looking at you, Will, are stuck playing checkers. Meanwhile, he's 3 moves ahead, sipping a pint, and you're still figuring out how the pieces move.
Well, I can't play chess or checkers. Look, I really hope that is the case.
OK. All right, let's look at The Independent. Prisoners on cruel and indefinite jail terms are being failed by the state. So this is imprisonment for public protection sentences, IPP sentences, which, Bill, I believe now have been stopped, haven't they?
No, not yet.
They're still going?
Yeah.
What a scandal.
But they're not handing out new ones, but there are still some people in jail who are on...
No. Well, I'm particularly reading this story. That's not my understanding. There are still people being given those sentences. And I have to say, I'm not convinced it's a scandal. This is about public protection and it's about public safety, and it's where there's not an automatic release at the end of a sentence because you're too much of a risk to society.
Can you explain to the viewers why there is some controversy? What is the concern? Because I've read people who have been nicked for shoplifting or stealing a mobile phone 20 years ago are still in prison today.
I've not seen those cases. And again, if you look at the Independent article, it talks about serious violent criminals. What's the beef against it? And it's Alex Chalk, the former Tory Justice Secretary, who's arguing that they're terminated or at least paused.
Well, can I read you this from the, Can I read you this from the Guardian? So this is the 24th of June. A man who developed psychosis after being jailed on an IPP sentence has been moved to hospital. So he stole a mobile phone 13 years ago. That was his crime, and he's still in prison today. Well, he's just been moved because it sent him mad. But does that sound fair to you, stealing a mobile phone and you remain in prison for 13 years?
No, it doesn't. And I genuinely don't understand how that stacks up. I mean, I remember IPPs being debated in the House of Commons, and they are for serious crimes. But in terms of where people like Chalk are coming from, I think they believe, as a matter of natural justice, that someone not knowing when the end of their sentence will come is unacceptable. Well, I think sometimes public safety is more important.
Well, reopen the asylums. In that case, I think so many problems have come as asylums have closed down in the Western world in the last 20 or 30 years. If it's a mental health thing, I've got no problem.
Well, this guy, I won't name him, but he developed psychosis after spending 13 years in prison for stealing a mobile. Another guy here on the BBC I'm reading, a prisoner has served almost 5 times his original sentence for a laptop robbery. He's been in jail for 20 years. For nicking a laptop.
So I'm assuming these are all people that have severe mental health stuff.
Not necessarily mental health, they were just criminals. I mean, low-level criminals, stealing mobiles, laptops.
I mean, in the case of the example that you've given, it sounds like if a guy's been put in prison for a ridiculous length of time and it's led to him developing psychosis, to then let him out on the streets, he's now become a more dangerous individual than he started. If he'd been given a short sentence, then things would have been better for the safety of society. So, I mean, in those cases, of course, these seem absolutely ridiculous. But in the case of someone who is, you know, a crazy murderer or something and is genuinely dangerous, you don't want to be in a situation where they're being let out on the streets when they are still extremely mentally unwell and highly likely to. We know what the state of rehabilitation is like in the prisons. It's not like people's mental health is getting better in there.
Bill, do you think this is a party political thing then? The Tories are just trying to... I mean, Alex Chalk...
No, to give Chalk his due, I mean, I disagree with him on this, but actually he's got a quite decent record on criminal justice issues, and particularly, you know, he went public on criticising Rishi Sunak for not building prison places or agreeing to an early release scheme. So I think he's got a genuinely principled perspective. I happen to think he's wrong.
There seems to be just a system-wide problem here where people are committing less serious crimes like tweets and they're getting long sentences. People are committing really serious crimes and getting relatively short sentences. And then you've got these sorts of things as well. There needs to be root and branch systemic change in this system because it is obviously broken.
Yeah, when you hear that someone's been there for, 13 years for, did you say, stealing a mobile phone, but then you hear that you've got, grooming gang perpetrators who have raped loads of young girls, only there for often a couple of years.
Yeah, and, I don't need to mention Lucy Colley. Did you mention Lucy Colley then?
No, I didn't.
No, I mentioned her all the time.
Insinuated,
OK, panel, thank you very much. Just some breaking news. If you care about sport, Chelsea have thrashed European champions Paris Saint-Germain at the FIFA Club World Cup in New Jersey, I think it is, and Bill, you'll love this, Donald Trump is going to be presenting the trophy imminently, so maybe we'll get some pictures of that. And also, do you guys like tennis?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, did you watch the final today at Wimbledon?
I didn't get a chance to watch the cricket.
Oh, the cricket? Oh, a great British institution. Yannick Sinner, of course, has won the men's final at Wimbledon, and what a show it was. The best of British on the show. What a grand slam. Right, still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. You could spend the money on going to Wimbledon, or was it the US Open that's next? £54,321 is up for grabs. It's tax-free. Here's all the details you need.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life. And it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, good luck to you. And I've just been reading that the most expensive final ticket for Wimbledon today on Centre Court, they were going on ticket resale websites for £20,000. Or if you're Keir Starmer or any of the Labour cabinet, you might get some for free from Lord Ali. Who knows? Right, coming up, we speak exclusively with Mail on Sunday editor-at-large Charlotte Griffiths, who reveals everything behind her bombshell front page today, that there are reconciliation talks between aides of King Charles and his runaway son, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. Back in just a tick.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
For working class families, what are the fundamentals that they are looking for? They're looking for good housing, they're looking for good schools, they're looking for good jobs that give them a fair day's wage for a fair day's graft, they're looking for a strong NHS, and they're looking for safe communities to live in. When you have all of those foundations in place, then it means that children, young people, they can flourish, they can do well alongside their parents and their grandparents. And I think if you look at what this Labour government has done, we're 10 months into a 5-year programme here, by the way, but in the first 10 months of this new Labour government, they have put major policy reforms in place across all 5 of those key foundations for working class families. And so I'm confident that we're starting to see some of it here in Basildon, where Basildon is starting to get better again. I'm confident that by the end of this Parliament, because of what the government is doing now, we will start to see some positive changes for working class families.
OK, Christo, what do you make of it?
I think that Bridget Phillipson makes a very fair point when she says that white working class families and those peoples are being left behind. But unfortunately, her actions as Education Secretary don't align with what I believe are these completely hollow words. So, for instance, we've seen white working class boys particularly, but now girls, falling behind in education for absolutely years. So why Bridget Phillipson would then bring in a policy that is seeing, by the latest figures, 13,000 private school pupils entering the state school system, why on earth she would bring in that kind of policy, whilst then having the audacity to say that she's worried about white working class pupils not doing so well, is beyond me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Now, the front page of today's Mail on Sunday carried a rather significant splash. As a world exclusive by friend of the show, Charlotte Griffiths, it revealed a secret Harry Peace Summit was held in central London just last week. The crunch talks between senior aides of King Charles, his father, and his runaway son, the Duke of Sussex, marked the first notable move in resolving the ongoing feud that's torn the family apart over recent years. I'm delighted to say Charlotte joins us live now down the line. Charlotte, good evening, nice to see you. The Sun have followed you. You're one step ahead, though, with the Mail on Sunday today. Just tell us about this. How did you come across the story, and how significant is it for potential reconciliation between King Charles and his son?
Oh, well, it's good to be followed in the Sun. Yeah, well, here we are at the beginning of the end of the feud. That's all I can say. I mean, I never actually thought I'd say these words here on your show, but this is what my sources are telling me, is that, and they were telling me all week, you know, look out, because a big meeting's coming. And the meeting is significant. Although they didn't have a specific agenda, it was very much rapprochement was on the cards. I've had to learn how to pronounce and spell rapprochement this week. I've said that word so many times because that was the word on the lips of my sources. They were like, that's all we're after, is just getting the conversation going again between these two warring sides, opening the lines of communication, and the very first step on the pathway towards the end of the feud.
Wow, that's pretty big. Yeah, as you described it, the beginning of the end of the feud, potentially. Can I ask, though, Charlotte, why do they need aides to broker it? Why can't Harry just turn up and go and have a beer or a cup of coffee with his dad and sort it out? Why are there aides? Why is it so formal?
Well, I mean, it's such a good question, because they've got to the point where Charles cannot be in a room with his son without thinking things might leak out. And this has been proven time and time again. So they've had to kind of step back a bit and say, first of all, we'll have the aides talking to one another. And then hopefully the next step will be Harry and Charles being in a room together.
OK. Will has a question for you. Yeah. Will Kingston.
G'day, Charlotte. Like, surely this is exactly the problem, though. There's one thing actually holding the summit, and then another thing actually being able to say things without the fear that Harry will just go off and leak everything once again. So do you actually think, even if they do hold this, it will actually be a conversation that is worthwhile in any way, or will the King just be constantly worrying about what he says with every single word?
No, I think you're right. I think they have to reset relations from this point onwards. I think what will definitely happen, in fact, is that they will lay some ground rules for communication from now on. And, you know, Harry cannot repeat what goes on in these private conversations, because, you know, Harry really wants reconciliation and he wants to be able to freely speak with his father. At the moment, he can't even get hold of his father. There is zero contact. He can't get through to him on the phone. He has to go through aides. So I think he'd be willing to meet those demands. And it's a pretty simple demand. It's, if I chat to you, can you please not, you know, have it leak out on Oprah Winfrey, you know, a global television programme.
OK.
So, yeah, I think you're right.
Bill's here with a question, Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte, I've said before that, you know, there's human beings at the centre of this tragedy. And frankly, if they are talking to each other, I think that's good news. I guess the question is, one, how much do you think is driven the fact that there is a dialogue taking place on both sides, how much of that is driven by the King's health? And secondly, if it is going to be a rapprochement, does it go as far as Prince William?
I think it is driven by the King's health, in as much that the King is obviously very circumspect at the moment, thinking about his life in the Ram, thinking about his future, possibly in a more forgiving place than perhaps he might not be had he not been going through a cancer battle this last year. And, you know, I think the fact that Harry said, we don't know how much time my father has left on the BBC, went down extremely badly. And actually, that's why this story is so unbelievably surprising, because that BBC interview was only a few weeks ago, and he broke the cardinal rule, which is speculating about the King's health. So I do think it plays a part. I don't think somebody said, by the way, this is how long Charles has left now, please organise this meeting because he wants to see you one last time. I don't think it's anything like in that stage. But I do think that's why the King is more forgiving. And when it comes to William, well, I suppose it's a similar thing in that William is in perfect health and is in no rush particularly to make amends with his brother. I think probably the King will have let William know that this is his approach, and he won't be wanting to hurt his other son, William. So there'll be a certain conversation with William taking place that this is happening. It's just that William won't want to get involved himself, I don't think.
OK, Charlotte, great stuff. Thank you. You're sticking with us after the break because the Prince and Princess of Wales, were they both at Wimbledon today?
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, there's some great pictures. The front page of The Sun says, Sinner a winner, Kate is a grinner. And it's good to see her back in action, but we'll discuss that after the break. So, Charlotte, you don't move. Viewers at home, you don't move. Panel, you stay right here. We'll be back in just a sec.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure starting to move in, so the heat wave ending. Still hot in the southeast for Monday, but many areas turning fresher. And we can see that nicely on the pressure pattern. Low pressure starting to dominate. Weather fronts moving in, bringing the risk of some heavy rain and thunderstorms in places too. This evening time, fairly quiet, though. As the bands of showers get going, we'll see some hefty downpours developing, particularly across Northern Ireland down into Wales. Some heavier showers developing across Northern England and Scotland during the early hours as well. But another very warm night to come. Temperatures widely 15 to 18 Celsius, so another fairly uncomfortable night for sleeping. And a different picture for Monday morning. Sunny spells and scattered heavy showers developing. So if we take a look at the details, we can see northern Scotland, some low cloud initially, best of the sunshine across the Highlands, drizzly across towards Aberdeenshire. But the risk of some heavy showers already pushing into southern Scotland, clearing Northern Ireland, still some for northern England as well. Bands of showers pushing across Wales, parts of England, but in between, sunny spells and temperatures on the warm side up to around 21 Celsius at 8 a.m. And then through the day, we'll see these bands of showers push north and eastwards, some thunderstorms developing. Could be quite torrential across northern England into southern Scotland come the afternoon. Some localised flooding possible here, but not everywhere we'll see the showers. Lots of places could stay dry, particularly across England and Wales, and fresher for all. The low 20s generally, but still towards 30 Celsius in the southeast, so still well above average for the time of year. Low pressure still dominating into Tuesday. Bands of showers, longer spells of rain pushing north and eastwards across many parts. Feeling much fresher as the winds pick up too. Temperatures generally will be around average for the time of year, reaching the low 20s, maybe 23 or 24, and it stays similar through the rest of the week with further rain at times too. See you later.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, Prince William and Princess Catherine attended the men's final at Wimbledon today with Kate, there she is, handing over the prestigious trophy to 23-year-old Italian Yannick Sinner earlier today after he beat Carlos Alcaraz. Kate's return to Wimbledon after her gruelling recent cancer journey was met by a standing ovation on centre court as her popularity with the British public shows no signs of waning. Charlotte Griffiths is back with us now, the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday. Charlotte, also Prince George was at Wimbledon today, looking pretty dapper in his suit. I know he gets lots of stick from people, well, his parents do anyway, for putting him in a suit. I think he looked really great. And he said he was all right at tennis.
Yes, well, he plays at, this isn't giving anything away, this is well known, at the Hurlingham Club in London, which is this super-duper exclusive club, and he goes there for tennis camps. And he would be really good because all the Middleton clan, Catherine and all her family, are huge tennis players, and Catherine's really seriously good. So I'm not really too surprised. And Lambert, the school he goes to, is very, very sporty as well. But I always think he looks really sweet in his little suit. I thought William looked hilarious in his double-breasted brass-buttoned blazer, because that's quite an old-fashioned 80s look that's more familiar with his father. So I think he's kind of moving into a new, more mature Prince of Wales era now with these quite grown-up looking suits.
Catherine looked good, though. She looked in good health after her obvious, cancer treatment. Good signs, I guess?
So good. I mean, last year she came, she got a standing ovation like she did this year. Last year she was moved to tears by it. This year she spoke to a little girl called Lydia Lowe, who was doing the coin toss. She was only 8 years old, and she gave Catherine some advice about how to kind of cope with the nerves of being there. She said, don't get nervous, take deep breaths. And Catherine said, well, thank you so much. I'll remember that going into the royal box. But what we all know really is that she's very well rehearsed. She was in the royal box with the most amount of celebrities I've ever seen at Wimbledon. So maybe on that front she was a little bit more nervous than usual. But she's the patron of the All England Club, and she is very at home there. She seems very comfortable taking her place at the front of the royal box these days. And she's definitely the Queen of Wimbledon, I think.
Yeah, great stuff. Charlotte, thank you so much. There's some great pictures in the Sun, well, indeed, all the papers tomorrow of Wimbledon, Catherine, William and George as well. I do like George in a suit, so I'm not going to listen to the haters who say that he should get out of a suit. Charlotte, thank you very much, and great story today on the front page of the Mail on Sunday as well. Really great world exclusive. Welcome back to the panel. Will, Chloe, Bill. Shall we move on? There's a story breaking in the Times that's going to be in tomorrow's paper. It's an exclusive interview with the Bank of England Governor, Andrew Bailey. You've probably not even seen this yet, panel, but a hot scoop. He has told the Times that there's slack in the economy that will help bring down inflation. And he said that the bank is ready to make larger cuts to interest rates if the jobs market shows a sign of slowing down. So rate cuts could be on the horizon, a victory lap for Rachel Reeves. Bill?
Well, it's one of the, there's all the debate at the moment about won't there be tax rises in the budget in October. Actually, perversely, if there are, it makes interest rate cuts more likely than the kind of City had factored in. So I think we are likely to get further interest rate reductions.
Did you see Chris Philp, I think it was today, maybe on GB News Breakfast, or I might be mistaken, saying that Rachel Reeves is probably going to be, or it was his pick anyway, to be the first out to lose her job?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think she and Keir are bound together. I do, however, think the government has got a problem because of the welfare U-turn, the £5 billion hole in the public finances has been created. Some of the growth figures being downgraded. The government really runs a risk of a constant, ongoing media debate between now and October about what's going to happen to taxes in the October budget. And they probably can't bring it forward, but if all other things being equal, I would say bring the budget forward.
Well, I don't think there will be much of a debate. I think we know that taxes will go up because it is the only thing this Labor government knows how to do in order to manage an economy. They've said go for growth from the outset. Interestingly, you don't hear it as much as you did a year ago, but they've said go for growth, but they don't know that the only way you can really grow an economy in the long term is by lowering taxes, it's by deregulating, it's by having a relatively small size of the state. These are economic principles we've known for hundreds of years, but it is not in the DNA of the Labor Party. And so, of course, they're going to go up. They don't have any other levers they can pull because they don't know what levers they can pull.
This might sound like good news in that Rachel Reeves might be thinking, oh, I might get a bit of growth that I can take credit for, even though it's because of the Bank of England. But let's not forget, Andrew Bailey saying there's slack in the economy. This is on the back of a very bad story that's come out, yesterday, that we've had the economy shrink for the second month in a row, which is bad month for Rachel Reeves. I know it's early days, just having 2 months in a row, but it is now starting to form a trend. And when you've got huge tax hikes, loads of people leaving the country, people firing people because of the national insurance hikes, it's not looking good. Let's not like it's a good news weekend.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Slack is a euphemism for the economy is not growing in the way that it should.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's still by the IMF predicted to be the fastest growing economy this year in the G7. But Will, you just said something, and it's interesting relating it back to the debate about trusts and politicians and reform, that cut taxes and have a smaller state. Now, I respect the fact that that is your view. That is not where the British public are, whether they're voting for reform, whether they're voting for Labour or the Lib Dems. The vast majority of people do not want a smaller state. They want a bigger one.
Yeah, look, Bill, I think there is some truth in that, and I think that is a trend that is consistent across the Western world, but I don't think the answer is therefore to give in. It is the answer for politicians to show leadership and to sell the case for why you need to get the debt issue under control, particularly because the US, the UK, Australia, all of these countries are heading for a terrible fiscal cliff, and it would ideally be better if they sorted it out as politicians before we actually go off it.
OK, stick with us on Ben Leo tonight. Another breaking story in the Telegraph tomorrow. Brace yourselves. Diversity and inclusion experts can come to the UK on skilled work visas. That's according to the Telegraph. The Home Office has also safeguarded visa application routes for the vocations of poets and bloggers on a list of protected occupations. Back in a tick.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, well there's plenty of hot and sunny weather across Europe, but there are still some showers out there for some of us. Across Madeira, sunny spells, some outbreaks of rain. Canary Islands, a mixture of sunny spells too. Plenty of sunshine across Portugal and Spain, with some showers across the Alps. Across the Greek islands, plenty of sunshine here and feeling hot, and that continues as we go through the week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures into the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Where Anna Riley, our intrepid reporter, is doing the toughest job in television right now, which is enjoying the sunshine. Anna.
Yes, Tom, it's definitely a tough gig for me today, I'll tell you. I'm on the Bridlington Fun Park ride here. This is the Zero Gravity ride. This fun park is, off we go. This fun park is right next to the sea. Oh, it goes quite quickly, I'll tell you. And people are out enjoying rides like this one. Off we go. It's a great boost for tourism, and we've been speaking to people here in Bridlington about what's so great about the sunshine. Let's have a listen.
We're on holiday. We've been here since last Friday, so we can't complain. It's been beautiful, and we're here till Monday, so we're really looking forward to the hot weather. As you can see, the sunburn.
It's lovely. It really is very nice. It's absolutely gorgeous. We deserve it, definitely.
It's good. We like the warm weather.
Yes, very nice. Loving it. Yes, like the warm
enough.
weather.
Woo! Well, this ride is showing no signs of stopping, and neither is the sunshine. We're getting that heat wave at the weekend. Enjoy the weather and enjoy fun rides like this one. Get to Bridlington and get to the fun park.
Oh my gosh! Absolute bravo, Anna Riley. What an incredible piece of television. I hope they let you off at some point.
I thought they'd only do it once or twice. Bless her.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. More front pages have just dropped. Loads of good stories. Hang tight. Starting with the eye. Measles surge fears for summer holidays after child dies amid the low jab uptake. So this is a case in Liverpool where a child has died with measles. We understand they had lots of other different health conditions as well. The Daily Telegraph. Tax raid looms for middle classes. The definition of working people shifts again as Labour turns focus to high earners. And a good one down the bottom, which I teased just before the break. Diversity and inclusion staff are eligible for skilled work visas. The Home Office has also safeguarded visa application routes for the vocations of poet and blogger and DJs on a list of protected occupations. The Times just discussed this. The Bank of England could cut interest rates if the jobs market slows down. That's an exclusive interview with the Governor, Andrew Bailey. Yannick Sinner there, the Italian, kissing his Wimbledon trophy after beating Carlos Alcaraz today at Wimbledon. The Guardian, warning over Israeli ethnic cleansing plan for Gaza. The humanitarian city that Israel's defence minister has proposed, building on the ruins of Rafah, would be a concentration camp. Forcing Palestinians inside would be ethnic cleansing. That's according to Israel's former Prime Minister, speaking to The Guardian. The Daily Mail, Labour's doctor strike hypocrisy. Ministers have criticised the medical union, the BMA, for low turnout in the ballot, but Angela Rayner's flagship bill will make walkouts even easier. And the Daily Express, toothless new sex abuse laws won't protect children. So laws to protect children from sexual abuse will be ineffective because the government is refusing to enforce them, according to a damning inquiry. Welcome back, panel. Will, Chloe, Bill, should we look at the Telegraph, this DEI one? So it's ridiculous, isn't it? DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. Visas will be handed out, Will. And also the roles of poets, bloggers and DJs will be given protected status. Yeah, look, it does sound ridiculous on its face. My rule for handing out any visa, but particularly skilled worker visas, is A, the person arriving should be coming from a country that is culturally compatible with the United Kingdom, and B, they should be a net contributor to the economy. And the problem so far is that in the vast majority of cases, people who are on visas don't tick both of those boxes. I think one of the problems with these skilled worker visas is that the salary threshold that you need to actually get in order to get one of these is really low, to the point where a lot of the time you're not going to be a net contributor. I'm not going to put the number out on TV. I can't remember exactly, but it's certainly under, I think it's under 40, maybe under 30K. 38. What is it, sorry? 38. 38. I think that should go up dramatically, so you are going to get people who are going to be contributing via tax in a way that they're not currently. That's Chloe, to the same extent. Yeah, good points. Chloe, Yvette Cooper vowed to ensure the immigration system was linked to skills and training, but I mean, poets, bloggers...
Nobody believes a word this government says, especially on immigration. And now reading this story, I think, oh yeah, typical Yvette Cooper, telling us you're going to smash the gangs, have a fair immigration system. All meanwhile, you're doing the complete and utter opposite. I don't care if it's even only 5 people that they keep a visa place for. It is still a complete and utter waste. That's 5 people that could come here who actually have proper skills that are going to contribute to our economy, not just in taxes, but in terms of productivity. DEI needs to die, but we've got Angela Rayner, her new workers' rights bill. We're going to have all these more DEI officers, the banter police. I mean, it says here you've got 27 million quid in a single year in the civil service spent on DEI. It's still everywhere. This DEI plague. If Trump was in charge, this definitely would.
Including,
I agree with that, actually.
Oh, talking of Donald Trump, actually, great segue, Chloe. Let's cross lines to New Jersey, where President Donald Trump is presenting Chelsea Football Club with the FIFA World Cup trophy. Let's take a look. Chelsea were playing Paris Saint-Germain in New Jersey. Of course, it's next year. There he is, Donald Trump. Love his big red tie.
Yeah. Who do I loathe more, Trump or Chelsea? It's a really tough call.
You're a Spurs fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Next year, of course, in the US is the World Cup, so I guess that's why this match has been held in New Jersey.
You can just see Trump loves this sort of stuff, doesn't he?
And it's 1 year today, panel and viewers, of the attempted assassination of President Trump, which I argue won him the election.
I think he would have won anyway, but I think it certainly helped. But, geez, that feels like longer than a year ago. It feels like we've lived a decade since then.
Do you know what, though? There's a serious footballing point around this. This competition is an absolute joke. It is just been designed to make money for the clubs. And no one's watching football at this time of year. And I speak as a passionate football fan. I think the competition's a nonsense.
Well, Chelsea won tonight. They played Paris Saint-Germain, as I said. Cole Palmer, who you just saw there collecting his medal, scored twice, and João Pedro scored as well, so it was 3-0. There was some controversy over this competition, as you said, Bill, because the stadiums in the United States were half empty. They couldn't really give the tickets away. Not sure really how much President Trump knows about football or soccer, as he'd say. He infamously said in the White House some weeks ago that his son Barron tells him off for calling it soccer. He says, no, Dad, it's football, so at least Barron's got a good sporting head on him. Do you think the election was won, Chloe, in the US after this assassination attempt 1 year ago today?
I think that it certainly helped him. I think it was this crazy moment where you know, he got up. Most people, after you have, you know, your ears bleeding, bullets hit you, would immediately get out of harm's way as quick as possible. He was so determined that he must fight for this country that he stood up and he pumped his fist in the air and, you know, he said, fight, fight, fight. I think everyone saw that's a moment that you can't fake. You can't fake that kind of determination. I think it really showed who he is. He's not just any old politician. He's someone for the history books.
There was
I'm sure Bill will disagree with.
On the first anniversary of that attempted assassination, the report has been released into the background of it, how it came to happen. It's a Senate report in the US. Apparently, a cascade of failures allowed a gunman to shoot at President Trump during that rally in Pennsylvania last year. The 20-year-old gunman opened fire, of course, in Butler, Pennsylvania. And it would accuse the Secret Service of a pattern of negligence and communication breakdowns in the planning and execution of the rally. The report said this was not a single error. It was a cascade of preventable failures that nearly cost President Trump his life.
I mean, that guy was on the roof for ages, and you had various people going up to the authorities saying something's not right here. There's a guy on the roof. He should have been taken down within 10 seconds that someone said there's a guy on the roof. He was there for ages.
But also, and I'm not jumping into conspiracy theories, but it is odd how little we still know about that gunman. You know, I would have thought after the JFK assassination, you know, you would have known what Lee Harvey Oswald had for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yet we know very little about that guy. I do find it strange.
Thomas Matthew Crooks, the guy was called. I mean, a fairly young lad. The Senate report. I mean, one bystander, by the way, we shouldn't forget him. He was a guy. He was a firefighter who was killed in the crossfire. So there was a death at the rally, which President Trump. I mean, he honoured the guy's family and the firefighter himself. The Senate report said this was not a single lapse in judgment. It was a complete breakdown of security at every level, fueled by bureaucratic indifference, a lack of clear protocols, and a shocking refusal to act on direct threats. That's according to the committee's Republican chairman, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. He told CBS News in America there was a cultural cover-up that claims masked critical security failures before the attack.
Then the uncomfortable question is, would those same failures have taken place if it was a Democratic president?
Yeah, I think that is a conspiracy theory too far. The idea that the US security services are engaged in party politics, I think, with respect, Will, is nonsense.
This is quite a big deal, this occasion here we're seeing. If you just tuned in to Ben Leo tonight on GB News, this is President Donald Trump in New Jersey presenting, well, it's PSG players now, Paris Saint-Germain, their medals. They've played Chelsea tonight, of course, the English London Football Club, in the FIFA Club World Cup. Some people argue, including Bill Rammell on the panel, that it's a bit of a joke competition, but Chelsea have won 3-0. And the reason it's being held in New Jersey is because next year is the World Cup, which is taking place in America. Is it Canada as well, Bill?
Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, so it's a North American World Cup. That's a good coup, no, for the United States. Was it 94, the last World Cup?
Yeah, it was.
Was it America 94? And, of course, the 2028 Olympics as well. Do you think...
250th anniversary of
independence.
America. Geez, he's got some good pageants coming up, doesn't he?
He's got a good schedule.
Good schedule.
He's got a good schedule. Do you think politically, culturally, sporting-wise, do you think, Will, America is back under President Trump and MAGA?
I think there is definitely a sense of momentum in the country which feels very different to what we currently have in the UK and across most of Europe. I think that's for sure.
What's your thoughts, Chloe?
Yeah, I think that there is this sense of hope in the US. Whilst we're here, you know, we've just looked on the Metro front page about how little faith people have in their politicians. I think there is a sense in America, you know, even if there are plenty of people that despise Donald Trump, that the country is moving somewhere. I think he's shown how quickly he acted when he came into power on so many different things. You know, immigration just being one example of that. That this is a determined man that does, you know, want to make America great again, to use his own words.
I know, with the exception of me, people in this room like and support Donald Trump, but that's not the public reaction in the States. He is tanking in the polls. I saw a poll yesterday. Half of the people who voted for him at the presidential election disagreed with him over tariffs because they can see that it's damaging the US economy. And, you know, if, as I think will happen, he loses the midterms next year, he's going to be a lame
But doesn't
duck.
that always happen?
That always happens.
But because he had his first term, 4 years ago, and this is now his second term, I'm just pointing to a political reality. He's going to be a lame duck in 18 months.
Well, I mean, Keir Starmer's approval rating is worse than any Prime Minister before him, no? That's in the
on record.
But Bill, but also don't forget, and I'm against tariffs. It's but at the same time, the stock market's just hit all-time highs in the United States. The anticipated impact on the stock market hasn't eventuated after that initial decline, that brief initial decline.
OK, great stuff. Thank you, guys. If you're just tuning in to Ben Leo Tonight, there's more to come with Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. You're looking at live pictures of President Donald Trump in America giving Chelsea players their winning medals after beating Paris Saint-Germain. Back in just a tick with more stories, including the golden age of cancer treatment is on the way. That's according to an NHS chief, and a very good one. Not sure if there's any cheese lovers on the panel.
Yes.
Yeah, Bill, yeah.
Yes.
Chloe?
Stop teasing it, though.
Well, apparently, Brie is running short after a soft cheese import ban. Upmarket delis and Michelin star restaurants in the UK are in absolute chaos because there's no Brie. Back in just a tick with Ben Leo Tonight, late edition.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure starting to move in, so the heat wave ending. Still hot in the southeast for Monday, but many areas turning fresher. And we can see that nicely on the pressure pattern. Low pressure starting to dominate. Weather fronts moving in, bringing the risk of some heavy rain and thunderstorms in places too. This evening time, fairly quiet, though. As the bands of showers get going, we'll see some hefty downpours developing, particularly across Northern Ireland down into Wales. Some heavier showers developing across Northern England and Scotland during the early hours as well. But another very warm night to come. Temperatures widely 15 to 18 Celsius, so another fairly uncomfortable night for sleeping. And a different picture for Monday morning. Sunny spells and scattered heavy showers developing. So if we take a look at the details, we can see northern Scotland, some low cloud initially, best of the sunshine across the Highlands, drizzly across towards Aberdeenshire. But the risk of some heavy showers already pushing into southern Scotland, clearing Northern Ireland, still some for northern England as well. Bands of showers pushing across Wales, parts of England, but in between, sunny spells and temperatures on the warm side up to around 21 Celsius at 8 a.m. And then through the day, we'll see these bands of showers push north and eastwards, some thunderstorms developing. Could be quite torrential across northern England into southern Scotland come the afternoon. Some localised flooding possible here, but not everywhere we'll see the showers. Lots of places could stay dry, particularly across England and Wales, and fresher for all. The low 20s,